On September 9, 1776, the Continental Congress officially gave the new nation a name, the United States of America. Before that moment, the country went by a very different name. It was called the United Colonies. There's even a theory that the name came from an English merchant named Richard Amerique. And then there's the truth that changes everything. Europeans weren't first. Native Americans were already here. Some argue Africans crossed the Atlantic thousands of years earlier. But in a short but powerful declaration dated September 9, 1776, Congress wrote that in all official documents, wherever the words United Colonies appeared, they should now be replaced with United States. Just like that, a name was locked into history. The name United States of America had already appeared earlier that year in the Declaration of Independence sent to British officials. The very first line mentions the 13 United States of America. From that moment on, the name stuck, and it has never changed. But when you really think about it, the name feels plain. Other countries had names tied to ancient tribes, kings, or deep cultural roots going back thousands of years. So how did the United States get this name? And what did the British actually call it before independence? Everything we're about to share is true. This story comes from research published by AmericanHeritage.com, History.com, and ConstitutionCenter.org. All credit goes to them for this incredible historical work, and we'll drop links to the full articles in the description. Before there was a United States, there wasn't even the idea of one. For a long time, this land didn't feel special at all. To the British, it was simply British America, not a nation, not a dream, just land owned by a crown thousands of miles away. 13 separate colonies. Different laws, different cultures, different problems. They didn't see themselves as one people. They didn't even trust each other. But pressure has a way of forcing unity. And as Britain tightened its grip, something unexpected happened. The colonies started talking. That alone was dangerous because colonies were never supposed to unite. They were supposed to obey. By 1775, a new phrase started appearing in letters, newspapers, and official papers: United Colonies. It sounds harmless today, but back then it was explosive because once you call yourself united, you're already imagining life without a ruler. John Adams used the term casually, but its meaning was anything but casual. It suggested cooperation. It suggested resistance. It suggested something bigger was coming. The British didn't fully understand how dangerous those words were, and that misunderstanding would cost them everything. As the conflict grew, another shift happened. Before I continue, if you're enjoying this story so far, this is where I ask for a little support. Please like this video and subscribe to the channel. It might feel small, but it helps this channel grow more than you think, and it helps us keep making more videos like this for you. All right, let's keep going, because what comes next is where things get really interesting. As the conflict grew, another shift happened. It didn't make headlines, it didn't spark speeches, but it was even more powerful. People started dropping the word colony. They replaced it with state. That change mattered more than most people realize. A colony answers to someone else. A state stands on its own. So when people began saying United States, they weren't just changing words. They were declaring independence before independence was official. And here's a detail most people never learn in school. America technically declared independence on July 2nd, not July 4th. July 2nd is the day Congress approved the resolution stating the colonies were free and independent states. John Adams believed July 2nd would be remembered forever. He thought people would celebrate it for generations. History chose differently. 2 days later, on July 4th, the Declaration of Independence was adopted. That's the date we remember. But the line had already been crossed. By the time July arrived, blood had already been spilled. This wasn't theory anymore. This was real. By June 1776, something else had already happened quietly. Thomas Jefferson had written words that assumed independence was already done. He didn't ask, he didn't suggest. He wrote as if it already existed. The United States of America. That phrase appeared before the country officially did. Think about that. The name came before the nation. Words shaped reality. Then came September 9, 1776. No parade, no applause, just paperwork. Congress passed a simple resolution stating that from now on, United Colonies would be replaced with United States. Just like that, a name was locked into history by a single sentence. And that might be the calmest part of this entire story. Because the real question isn't United States. The real question is America. Where did that word come from? Because it didn't come from the Founding Fathers. It didn't come from the Revolution. It existed long before the United States ever did. We're taught a clean, simple story. America was named after Amerigo Vespucci. End of listen. But history rarely stays that neat. In 1507, a German mapmaker printed a world map. On it, he labeled a new land America. Not because a country existed there, but because he believed Vespucci understood something Columbus didn't. That this land wasn't Asia, it was something completely new. So he took Vespucci's Latin name, Americus, and turned it into America, matching names like Europe and Asia. One map, one decision, a name that stuck. But this is where things get uncomfortable. Some historians argue Vespucci didn't even write the famous travel accounts credited to him. Others believe the name America existed before him. There are theories linking it to Norse explorers. Some say it came from the world of Leif Erikson. Others claim Irish sailors reached a land beyond the sunset centuries earlier. There's even a theory that the name came from an English merchant named Richard Amerique. And then there's the truth that changes everything. Europeans weren't first. Native Americans were already here. Some argue Africans crossed the Atlantic thousands of years earlier. So when we say discovered, what do we really mean? Maybe discovery isn't about who arrived first. Maybe it's about who changed the world. And that's why Columbus still matters. Not because he was first, but because his voyage changed everything. 1492 didn't just change geography, it changed trade, power, history. The modern world begins there. And that's why the name America became so important, because it represents a turning point, not just a person. Now here's the shocking part. The United States never truly chose the name America. America was already there, already named, already debated, already shaped by myths, maps, mistakes, and power. The founders didn't create the word, they attached themselves to it. So the United States of America isn't named after freedom. It isn't named after democracy. It's named after exploration, confusion, and unanswered questions. And once you realize that, the name feels very different. If you made it to the end, you're exactly the kind of person this channel is for. So don't watch this and disappear. Hit the like and subscribe button right now, because we post hidden history like this all the time. Stories that change how you see the world. If you don't subscribe, you'll miss the next one. And trust me, the next story is even crazier. I'll see you in the next video.